Machiavelli warned, men are governed by fear or by interest. The hidden truth? Caring is neither. It is submission disguised as virtue. I am Draven oblivious, the voice behind the silence. You see me now, faintly in the corner, but only once. My voice opens the gate. Beyond this point, what you call caring will be stripped bare, revealed for what it truly is, weakness wearing the mask of humanity. The first chain is merciless, caring is control, but not yours. Pawns believe that caring deeply makes them noble, strong, and moral. In truth, it makes them predictable. To care too much is to hand others the blueprint to your destruction. What you care about defines where you can be broken. Shelby understood this with brutal clarity. His enemies tried to reach him through emotion, through family, through love, through guilt. But he built walls of ice around every weakness. He cared, yes, but never visibly. His silence made others guess, doubt, fear. The man who cares in secret controls those who care publicly. Corleone lived by the same law. His empire survived because he separated affection from strategy. He could love his family yet never allow that love to dictate his actions. To others, he appeared stone, detached, unreachable. It wasn't cruelty, it was control. He knew that the man who displays care invites manipulation. The man who hides, it dictates the game. Forget emotions. Remember victory, picture the pawn. He cares loudly. He argues, pleads, sacrifices endlessly. He believes his devotion earns loyalty. Instead, it breeds exploitation. People learned his triggers, his fears, his attachments, and pull them like strings. His care becomes his cage. Now picture the ruler. He withholds care. He watches without reacting, listens without revealing, loves without dependence. His calmness unnerves. His detachment commands. Others cannot read him, and what cannot be read cannot be controlled. His indifference is his armor. His silence is throne. Erase the noise. Master the game. This is the anatomy of caring's downfall. It exposes you. What you care for reveals where you bleed. It weakens you. Empathy dilutes decisiveness. It enslaves you. Attachment makes you act against logic. And this is the anatomy of detachment's crown. It hides weakness. Indifference is mystery. It builds control. Emotionless men are unpredictable. It breeds fear. Distance breeds reverence. The mind forgets. The strong remain. Machiavelli understood this eternal cruelty, caring deeply for people, ideas, or approval invites your downfall. Those who crave power must learn the art of selective indifference, to care without showing it, to love without needing it, to feel without flinching. The ruler feels less, and in feeling less, controls more. But genius minds know the paradox. Detachment doesn't kill empathy. It disciplines it. Caring must become a weapon, not a wound. The ruler decides when and where to reveal emotion, never as truth, always as tactic. So what does this mean for you? It means if you still care to openly, if you still reveal your heart to gain peace, if you still let others sense what you fear losing, you are pawn. The crown belongs to those who control their care, who weaponize emotion, who make others reveal what they feel while remaining unreadable. So tonight, ask yourself, who controls my care, me or them? One question decides whether you command or serve, and as silence closes this first fracture, I leave you with the truth few survive. Caring doesn't make you human, it makes you hostage. Machiavelli wrote, whoever controls fear controls men. The hidden truth? Whoever controls what you care about controls you. The second chain is subtle, silent, and lethal. Caring is leverage. Pawns think caring makes them moral, human, trustworthy. But in the world of power, every emotion you display becomes a string in someone else's hand. The more you care, the more leverage you give. Shelby understood this cruelty like instinct. Every man around him cared loudly about love, family, legacy, and he watched them break because of it. He learned that when people know your heart, they know your weakness. He mastered the art of the blank stare, the quiet tone, the empty expression. The less they saw, the more they feared. His control was born not from caring, but from concealing. Corleone thrived by the same principle. Every favor, every act of mercy was calculated, not emotional. He cared, yes, but he never allowed care to dictate power. His compassion was currency. When he showed it, it was never free. He gave loyalty only to those who could serve it, and in doing so, he inverted the chain. He turned caring from a liability into a weapon. Forget emotions. Remember victory, picture the pawn. He reveals everything. his fears, his dreams, his attachments. He believes transparency builds trust. Instead, it builds targets. Those who listen do not care, they collect. Every confession becomes ammunition. Every emotion becomes a weapon against him. His honesty is not strength. It is surrender. Now picture the ruler. He listens, but rarely speaks. He observes, but never reveals. His silence pulls others closer, desperate to be seen, desperate to be understood. They open themselves to him, unaware they are being mapped. Their desires become his leverage. Their attachments become his chains. The ruler who doesn't care, or seems not to, owns everyone who does. Erase the noise. Master the game. This is the anatomy of carrying as leverage. It reveals your anchor. What you love most becomes the handle others pull. It disarms your logic. Emotion blinds strategy. It transfers power. Whoever triggers your care commands your actions. And this is the anatomy of detachment as dominance. It conceals your motive. No one can attack what they cannot name. It bends others to your silence. Mystery breeds influence. It transforms empathy into power. The emotionless rule the emotional. The mind forgets. The strong remain. Machiavelli saw this centuries ago. Rulers fall not because they lack strength, but because they care where they shouldn't. Empires collapse when sentiment seeps into strategy. Caring too much about being right, loved, remembered, these are the soft spots the enemy exploits. Power requires cold blood beneath a calm face, but the genius mind doesn't erase emotion. It edits it. It chooses where to care, when to show it, and to whom. It uses compassion like a blade, sharp, deliberate, precise. The ruler knows when care becomes leverage and when leverage becomes control. So what does this mean for you? It means if people can trigger your care, they can steer your choices. If they know what matters most to you, they already own part of you. The crown belongs only to those who care in silence, who conceal their attachments, who make others reveal their hearts while keeping theirs frozen. So tonight, ask yourself, who knows what you care about, and what would they do with it? Because in the game of power, caring openly is not noble. It is suicide. Machiavelli wrote, "He who depends on others to defend him will fall." The hidden truth, the man who cares too much becomes dependent, not on protection, but on approval. The third chain is merciless. Caring becomes obedience in disguise. Pawns believe caring makes them noble, that loyalty and compassion are the signs of a good heart. But when you care too deeply, your heart stops being yours. It becomes a cage built by others. They do not ask you to obey. You obey willingly. Shelby saw this law unfold in blood. Every man who loved too much, who felt too much, who cared too much, became predictable. Tommy didn't stop caring. He learned to hide it beneath calculation. Every decision passed through the filter of control, never emotion. Love was a weapon he used, not a chain he wore. Corleone ruled by the same principle. He loved his family, yes, but that love never ruled him. He could sacrifice affection for the empire, silence emotion for order. When he acted, it wasn't from care, it was from necessity. His love was disciplined, his emotions enslaved to strategy. That is the distinction between rulers and pawns. Both feel, but only one controls the feeling. Forget emotions. Remember victory. Picture the pawn. He cares so deeply that he bends. He listens, pleases, adjusts. He fears losing love, respect, or peace. Every word, every move becomes obedience to emotion, not reason. Others don't need to command him. His own care keeps him leashed. Now picture the ruler. He cares selectively. He listens without agreeing. He acts without apologizing. His empathy is filtered through logic. Others may call him cold, distant, heartless, but secretly they envy his freedom. For he moves like a ghost among the enslaved, untouched by emotional chains. Erase the noise. Master the game. This is the anatomy of caring's transformation into obedience. It teaches compliance. You act to avoid pain, not to achieve purpose. It breeds fear. The fear of losing affection makes you controllable. It feeds manipulation. Those who know you care don't need to force you. They simply remind you what's at stake. And this is the anatomy of emotional detachment. It reclaims control. You no longer react. You dictate. It silences weakness. Others cannot pull strings that don't exist. It commands loyalty. Those who cannot move you, respect you. The mind forgets. The strong remain. Machiavelli understood the psychological cruelty. Caring is the foundation of control. Those who care the most are ruled by those who care the least. It's the paradox of power. Emotion enslaves, detachment liberates. The man who feels everything obeys everyone. The man who feels nothing commands all. But genius minds twist this paradox to their advantage. They may appear to care, they mirror emotion, project warmth, simulate empathy, but every gesture is calculated. They use care like a hypnotic drug, making others loyal, obedient, predictable. True rulers don't reject emotion, they weaponize it. So what does this mean for you? It means if your care still dictates your choices, you are pawn. If your emotions still drive your obedience, you are already ruled. The crown belongs only to the one who decides what and who deserves his care. And when it show it so tonight, ask yourself, do I command my care, or does my care command me? One question decides whether you rule or kneel, and as silence seals this third chain, remember the doctrine whispered in every shadow. Caring too much is obedience disguised as virtue. Machiavelli warned, the one who is always merciful invites his own ruin. The darker truth, mercy is not goodness, it is craving, a hunger to be seen as good, noble, kind. The man addicted to caring is not virtuous, he is desperate. The fourth chain is merciless, caring is addiction masked as morality. Pawns believe their compassion is proof of strength. They speak of loyalty, empathy, kindness, but beneath every act of care lies an unspoken dependency, the need to feel valuable. Caring becomes a narcotic, it feeds the illusion of worth, and like all addictions, it destroys the hopes first. Shelby saw the sickness devour men around him, those who cared to deeply drown in it. They fought wars not for strategy, but for love, guilt, revenge. He learned early, the more you care, the easier you are to predict. And predictability is death in the game of power. He detached not because he was soulless, but because he was addicted, and he refused to let the addiction own him. Corleone lived the same discipline. He understood that uncontrolled care made rulers reckless. Every favor he gave, every act of loyalty he extended, all were precise, measured, devoid of dependency. His generosity was not love, it was leverage. He never gave because he needed to. He gave because others did. That is not care. That is dominance disguised as grace. Forget emotions. Remember victory, picture the pawn. He cannot stop caring. He cares when it hurts him, when it drains him, when it betrays him. Each act of compassion feeds his need to be seen, to matter. He calls it love. The world calls it weakness. And those who understand him know exactly how to use him. Now picture the ruler. He disciplines care as he would a weapon. He allows himself to feel, but never to depend. He offers empathy as strategy, not surrender. His care does not control him. He controls it. And that control is what others mistake for coldness. But coldness is not absence of feeling. It is mastery over it. Erase the noise. Master the game. This is the anatomy of caring's addiction. It feeds ego. You care to feel important, not to be effective. It drains strength. You spend energy on approval, not power. It breeds dependency. The more you care, the more you need others to care back. And this is the anatomy of detachment's liberation. It restores energy. You act without emotional tax. It creates focus. You stop chasing validation. It inspires fear. The man who does not crave care cannot be controlled. The mind forgets. The strong remain. Machiavelli saw this disease centuries ago. Rulers fall when they confuse caring with control. Empires collapse not from force, but from mercy without measure. The addict of caring seeks peace, but peace bought with emotion is slavery. Only when you break the addiction can you act with clarity, cut with precision, roll without regret. But the genius mind goes further. He doesn't kill the instinct to care. He weaponizes it. He uses compassion to disguise his ambition, empathy to gather information, kindness to bind loyalty. Caring becomes currency, and he spends it without attachment. So what does this mean for you? It means if you still crave to care, to fix, to save, you are addicted. And addiction makes you weak. The crown belongs to the one who feels without needing, who gives without depending, who loves without bowing. So tonight, ask yourself, do I care because I choose to, or because I need to? One answer liberates you, the other enslaves you, and as silence seals this fourth chain, I leave you with the truth that poisons most hearts before they ever rise. Caring too much is not kindness, it is captivity. Machiavelli said, men should be either crushed or feared. The darker truth, the man who cares too openly is neither feared nor crushed. He is hunted. The fifth chain is merciless. Caring makes you visible. Power depends on invisibility, on unreadable motives, untraceable emotions. But caring too much is exposure. You reveal your weak points, your desires, your fears. And predators never attack the unknown, they attack the exposed. Shelby knew this. He moved through war and business like a shadow, calm, detached, unreadable. His enemies never knew what he valued most because he buried it behind silence. And when they guessed wrong, they paid for it with their lives. Corleone understood the same law. He concealed his care beneath distance. Those who tried to test him discovered nothing. His silence was armor, his composure a fortress. Men feared him not for his strength, but because they could not see where he could be struck. Forget emotions. Remember victory. Picture the pawn. He shows everything. His love, his fear, his guilt. He speaks too much, hopes too loudly, trusts too easily. And soon, the world learns exactly where to cut. His caring doesn't protect him. It paints a target across his heart. Now picture the ruler. He hides his care so deeply it becomes myth. He may feel, but no one knows when or why. His enemies swing in darkness, uncertain where to strike. That uncertainty is his shield. His silence makes him dangerous. Erase the noise. Master the game. This is the anatomy of caring's exposure. It reveals your center. Predators attack where you care most. It creates visibility. The emotional man glows in the dark. It ensures vulnerability. You cannot defend what the world already sees. The mind forgets. The strong remain. So tonight, ask yourself, what have I revealed that they could use against me? Because once your care is known, your fate is written. Asterisk Machiavelli wrote, it is better to be feared than loved. If you cannot be both, the hidden truth, love bends, fear commands. Coldness is the bridge between them. The sixth chain is merciless. Coldness is not cruelty. It is control. Pawns believe warmth keeps people close, but warmth only melts your boundaries, softens your edges, exposes your core. Coldness, when mastered, creates gravity. People do not leave you because they love you. They orbit you because they cannot read you. Shelby wielded coldness like a blade. He never shouted, never begged, never chased. His silence carried weight because it was deliberate. When he spoke, it cut. When he stared, it burned. He understood that emotions displayed to freely lose power, but emotions withheld turn into authority. Corleone lived the same creed. He did not need rage to rule. His calm was enough to terrify. Every word was measured, every gesture deliberate. His coldness made men confess before he even spoke. They called him Don not because they liked him, but because his presence froze them into reverence. Forget emotions. Remember victory. Picture the pawn. He fears coldness. He believes it makes him unlovable, so he overcompensates with kindness. He explains too much, forgives too easily, hopes too often. But his warmth weakens him. People lose respect for what they can access anytime. The pawn burns himself for others and wonders why no one fears the flame dot. Now picture the ruler. He wields coldness with precision. He speaks less, reveals nothing, controls his tone as if it were currency. He lets others melt in his silence. He never chases, and that absence makes others chase him. He knows coldness does not push people away. It pulls the desperate closer. Erase the noise. Master the game. This is the anatomy of coldness as power. It starves manipulation. No reaction means no control. It breeds curiosity. People respect what they don't understand. It demands effort. The harder you are to reach, the more valuable you become. And this is the anatomy of warmth as weakness. It lowers defenses. You hand them the map to your emotions. It reduces your value. Constant availability breeds contempt. It invites exploitation. People use what they can access without effort. The mind forgets. The strong remain. Machiavelli understood what most never will. Rulers must appear composed even when chaos burns. Within, coldness is not the absence of emotion. It is the discipline to hide it until it serves you. The moment you react, you surrender control. The moment you stay still, the world moves around you. But genius minds twist this truth further. They know when to let warmth flicker, not for comfort, but for contrast. A rare smile from a cold man carries more power than endless kindness from a desperate one. Coldness is the throne. Warmth is the illusion that keeps the pawns near dot. So what does this mean for you? It means every time you react, explain, justify, you bleed power. Every apology, every emotional display, every desperate attempt to connect makes you smaller. Power belongs to those who freeze their impulses and move with silence as their sword. So tonight, Ask yourself, when they provoke you, do you burn or freeze? One answer ends the game, the other begins your reign, and as silence seals the sixth chain, remember, coldness is not the death of emotion. It is emotion in chains, sharpened, controlled, and lethal. Machiavelli declared, "He who builds his power on the passions of others builds on sand." The darker truth, the man who feels nothing cannot be moved. Indifference is not absence, it is immortality. The final chain is merciless. Indifference is the highest form of control. Pawns believe reacting proves strength. They defend, justify, explain. But every reaction confirms dependency. When you stop reacting, the world bends to your stillness. Indifference is not ignorance, it is dominance through silence. Shelby embodied this mastery. His enemies screamed, begged, threatened, and he remained motionless. That stillness broke them more than violence ever could. They projected their fear onto his calm, mistaking it for calculation. And they were right, for silence always hides a plan. Corleone lived by the same doctrine. He could listen to betrayal and respond with serenity. His indifference was not coldness, it was judgment. The guilty destroyed themselves in the space his silence created. He understood that when you do not react, you make others reveal themselves completely. Forget emotions. Remember victory. Picture the pawn. He argues, defends, explains. His ego demands acknowledgement. He cannot endure being misunderstood, so he keeps speaking, revealing, surrendering power with every word. His caring to be seen, to be understood, to be liked, chains him tighter to weakness. Now picture the ruler. He does not explain. He does not seek to be understood. His silence distorts others' perception, forcing them to question their own. His indifference triggers obsession, for nothing unsettles people more than a man they cannot move. Erase the noise, master the game. This is the anatomy of indifference as power. It breeds obsession. The less you respond, the more they pursue. It creates illusion. Your silence becomes mystery. Your absence becomes authority. It commands energy. People spend theirs trying to earn yours. And this is the anatomy of reaction as weakness. It gives control. Every emotional response becomes a signal. It drains focus. You spend time proving instead of building. It ensures defeat. The emotional man always loses to the indifferent one. The mind forgets. The strong remain. Machiavelli understood that empires crumble not from external force, but internal reaction. The ruler who cannot remain unmoved becomes a slave to the emotions of others. Indifference, when perfected, is the ultimate discipline. The art of caring only when it serves power. But genius minds use indifference strategically. They do not disconnect from humanity. They transcend it. Their care is precise. Their silence deliberate. Indifference is not apathy. It is choosing what deserves reaction and letting all else die in the cold. So what does this mean for you? It means every time you overthink, argue, or explain, you give someone control over your mind. The crown belongs to those who can look into chaos, feel nothing, and move exactly when they choose. So tonight, ask yourself, how many times have I reacted when I should have rolled in silence? Every answer is a confession of weakness and an invitation to begin again. Because indifference is not withdrawal, it is ascension. The world cannot manipulate what it cannot move. The mind forgets, the strong remain, and as silence closes this final chain, remember, caring made you visible, coldness made you feared, but indifference makes you untouchable.